What do the next 3 years look like? What do the next 5 years look like? Am I doing the right things today that are going to get me to the version of myself that I want to see in 5, 10, 15, 20 years? And the answer to that was no. Literally cannot function without coffee. Over the last few weeks, ever since I got back from Moab and I had, like I've said, the literally best coffee of my life, I've gotten really into coffee. It's becoming a pretty expensive habit, but it's got its pros and cons, right? It's got its trade-offs. As I get more into coffee, I spend more money on coffee, but it's better quality coffee and I can taste that better quality. And then I feel like I start my day so intentionally, instead of just grabbing some random supermarket coffee off the shelf, which there's nothing wrong with doing that. But instead of doing that, I wake up and I make myself a nice fresh batch of locally roasted coffee, and my day feels so intentional, and I remember how it felt to go to the shop. And this is not a video about coffee, so I'm just gonna cut it right now. As you know, I've been on for quite some time the pursuit of what? Honestly, I don't know what. A better life, a feeling of living authentically to my inner core, learning how to expand in a world that wants us to stay constricted. It's more like this feeling of freedom, internal freedom that I've been seeking, and that presents itself in various ways depending on the sorts of things that I'm wrestling with in my different cycles of life, as is normal. But something that came up for me a few months ago is a question that I wrestled with for quite some time, and I want to share it with you. Will I be proud of, happy with, satisfied by the path that I am on and the quote unquote loose destination that I'm working toward if something happens to me before I get to that supposed destination? And I asked myself, if I died today, would I be happy with the life that I've been living? And the answer to that on a very consistent basis has been yes. And the reason that the answer has been yes with such a strong conviction for so long is because I'm generally in a pattern now where my days are super present. I'm not filming this video thinking about anything else that I'm going to do today. When I'm at the gym, I'm fully in my workout. I'm not ruminating. I'm not stressing. And I think a lot of that is just due to the fact that I've been grateful in the sense of being able to bring a good, deep sense of solitude to my life. I don't have that much stress in my life right now, at least stressors that are up to me to be able to control. And so I would get to the end of my days feeling like I lived a present day. I was on the path. I smelled the trees. I smelled the flowers. I saw the trees. I smiled. I was nice to my friends. Today would be a fine day. And then the next question I'd ask is, okay, well, if I got hit by a bus in 15 years, let's say, 15 or 20 years, would I be happy with the life that I'm living now? And the answer to that is also, well, yeah. I mean, I say that I want to do these things like write a book and I want to invest more time into my creative pursuits, but I'm a good friend and I know what I need to do, and I'm working up the confidence and the courage to take more of those steps onto that path. And I know that I'm not exactly where I want to be, but I am generally heading in the direction that I do want to be in. So if it happened to me in a decade or two, I would be okay with where I was going. But then I asked myself the harder question to answer with that same level of conviction, which is, I had 5 years remaining in this life. Would I be happy with the life that I'm choosing to live right now? And the answer to that, unfortunately, is no. Now, here's why 5 years is such a wonderful question to ask. It's far enough away that I can get away with not making the maximal amount of good decisions for my quality of life today, but it's also close enough that if I'm not operating with a sense of urgency toward the things that I know on the 20-year timeline I should be doing, that I'm just not going to get there. And how do we make a 20-year timeline successful? Well, we break it up into smaller chunks. If I give myself a 20-year timeline or a 20-year runway, I have a lot of freedom and flexibility, and there's nothing wrong with taking that freedom and flexibility. But if I'm committed to the path, I would try to take a straighter shot. I would be trying to think of my life in what do the next 3 years look like? What do the next 5 years look like? Am I doing the right things today that are going to get me to the version of myself that I want to see in 5, 10, 15, 20 years? And the answer to that was no. If I knew that I had 5 years left, what would I do today? Today, I would quit my job. I would write every minute of the day on this memoir and my poems, and I would finally digitize all of the writing that I did when I was younger that's just sitting in journals. I would do all of this stuff that I know on the 20-year timeline, or even in my body, in my core today is why I'm here, and I would do them right away. I would do them right now. I would cut all the fat out of my life, and I would go, and I would be operating with that sense of urgency. Sorry about that. I ran out of memory. But yeah, if I knew that I had 5 years, I would be doing everything that I know that I should be doing on the 20-year path, that I'm like, oh, I'm treating myself with loving kindness. I'm not in a rush. But really, I'm understanding that if I bring it back to that 5 years, these are all excuses, at least for me personally. Like, there's no reason why I can't act with that sense of urgency today. And it doesn't mean that I have to panic. Doesn't mean that panicking is healthy or good or the right thing to do, but to act with a sense of urgency for the life that I say with such strong conviction is the one that is meant for me. Like, why am I not acting in a way that is in alignment with that sense of urgency or that sense of conviction? You know what I mean? Like, why am I not being so urgently and fervently and passionately in the pursuit of all of the things that I claim, that I say, are why I'm here? Well, we're changing that. I was like that until I went to Utah. And I know I keep talking about that trip, but it was a life-changing trip for me, as you can see why now. Just meeting all those people and realizing, like, they're all living their version of their truth. Like, they're in the embodiment of who they are. There's this light to life that they're bringing to everything that they do because they're doing what they feel like is right for them right now. And I'm not, at least not to the degree that I can be. And so I came back and I dropped into that question. And I said, let's do more of the things that would be in alignment with that 5-year time horizon. I don't need to quit my job to write, but I can devote an hour a day to writing. And I don't want to be on my phone, so I can just stop using social media and read more and get outside more. And this is the thing, right? Like, everything is hard. There's this saying called choose your hard, right? Waking up and going to the gym is hard. Eating a greasy sandwich that's not going to make you feel good for the rest of the day is hard. Making time for friends is hard. Feeling lonely is hard. Like, everything in life is hard. Choose your hard. There are things, like, quite frankly, quite honestly, that are really good for us, that are important for us to do, that we're never really gonna want to do, or we're not gonna want to do consistently. Like, it's raining outside right now. I don't feel motivated to go for a walk or really, like, even get up and put my gym clothes on, but I know it's the right thing to do, so I'm gonna do it. We all have no idea how much time we have while we're here. We wake up every day, and every day is a gift. And if you are lucky enough to know what you want to be doing with your life, but you are not doing it today, ask yourself that question. Am I happy with the life that I am living today? Am I happy with the path that I am on and where it will possibly be leading me in 20 years? And am I happy with the choices that I am making and where they're going to bring me in 5 years? What if I only have 5 years left to live? Am I in the life that I would want for myself? Am I doing the things? Am I being the person that I would be proud of if 5 years was all I had left. And don't be discouraged if the answer is no. Because if the answer is no, then you are already winning, because you are able to be honest with yourself about there being a disconnect. And that is where the answer lies, in the disconnect, in that feeling of something's off. And I maybe don't know exactly what it is, but I know I need to change something. So change it. It's okay. Nobody's perfect. It doesn't need to happen overnight. I just want you to be living a life that you're proud of. And it happens for me now. You know, it wasn't the case a few months ago, but I do think that I'm on a good 5-year timeline for myself right now. When I was driving yesterday, I was just like, wow, life really is this fickle thing. We act as if we're all going to live for 100 years, but things happen. We don't get to choose how long we're here, and things can change really, really quickly. But God forbid something happened to me, I know that I would be dying in the pursuit of my personal legend. And that's enough for me to be able to meet whatever happens on any given day with courage, with bravery, and honestly, tender acceptance for things being the way that they should be. Would I want them to be better or different? Do I want to live a long, happy, fulfilling life? Absolutely. But I'm just doing what I can with what I know about my life and my world today. And at the end of the day, that's enough. It has to be. I love you. Thank you for listening and being here. And do you have any questions? Let me know. If not, I'm going to finish my super expensive, locally roasted coffee. And I will talk to you next week. Bye.